Well, here we are, the penultimate race of the series. I can't believe that we've got there. Maggie and I have just come back from Italy where it was nice and warm, but today it's only 8 degrees, barely, with the wind from the north, really quite chilly. Everybody's got lots of clothing on, woolly hats. It's a very difficult course to set for the race officer because the wind is coming straight across the lake. We've opted to go along the line and tack at the gun. Expecting it to stay there, but of course it's been Chipstead, the wind's filled in from the east a bit more, and the people who've started by the pontoons have got a nice lift on starboard, so we're having to go round the back of all the boats, the whole fleet. You can see ahead James and Helen, and then there's Mark Wilkins, but there were 2 boats over the line. Well, it might have been more, but certainly a double gong for individual recall. We're certain it wasn't us, it's James and Helen going past. So there's lots of discussion about who might have been over the line. So we've got to lift along the shore here a bit. So Alan and Marion are going back, they've decided that it was them. John and Mel are just ahead there, and then they're asking us if we thought that they were over the line, and they've decided to go back to avoid them as they came back towards the line, looking at the wildlife as we disturb that going down the lake. And after what looked like a poor start, actually, we managed to get ahead of everybody, and I think my reading of the line was better than I thought it was, because we got that lift along the shore to begin with, and then the wind's sort of variable. I mean, it dies and it comes back. We've gone round B, I think it is, that's Roger and Sarah Jane just behind us, so it's positions reversed from the last week. All quite close here in the middle of the fleet, and then there we are. There we've got Alan and John who went back, so they are trying to catch up the back end of that middle part of the fleet. Roger just won't go away. Then we get into the doldrums here a bit, so we're having to tack to catch the very, very short wind shifts here. We've got into the bottom part of the lake and a little bit more wind. Now back up to the top of the lake going around F. And we should pull out a bit of a lead here. And it's all mixed up because we've got the people who would normally be at the front of the fleet towards the back, and they're making their way through if they can. There's John, you see, so he's right at the back of the fleet at the moment.
Oh, it's Meg. Meg's in that boat, yeah.
Right, Jane in the rib, enjoying herself, coming round to the capsized boat there in the background. And here we go. So having built up a reasonable lead, then the rest of the fleet come up with the wind from behind. Typical Chipstead. Will we get to the mark before them? There's Roger, Sarah Jane, almost got our fingers in the water. Everybody's caught up. We got to the mark first, which is really good. So it's a short distance from B to A. Roger's hot on our heels, as you can see. So it's Rick and John opting to tack. Mark Wilkins and Carol just behind there, staying with Roger. There's always a dilemma whether to tack there or not. It gets quite shallow near the island, so we don't want to go aground, which is why we've just tacked out. Okay, a little bit of wind here. Again, it's veered round to the north, so we're reaching at the moment, and then get into the narrows bit, and we start having to tack again. So again, some short tacks. That's Peter and Meg just making their way back there with their sail down. Well, the tacking was almost as frequent as that. There were some really, really short, sharp little wind shifts. Make one mistake here and you really pay for it. So the wind shifted a little bit more to the east, which is why I'm not having to jibe at that point. So we've managed to just eke out a little bit of a lead here. Still discussing who was over the line, and maybe we were. It's very difficult to know. We just assumed we weren't, but we talked about it all the way round. Right, so we managed to get away from most of the fleet. They're still very tight together here though. John's catching up there. He's managed to get through a number of boats. Alan is also trying to do the same thing. In the background, Sarah Jane. They won't go away. John's catching. You can see he's catching. Here comes Roger again. I think we're managing to keep ahead this time. So he hasn't brought up quite as much on the downward leg as he had before.
Oh, the grass light's up.
Right, so I'm just coming up to the end. I think we're rather relieved here. Roger and Sarah Jane came in second. Mark and Carol were third, so that leaves it all to play for next week, because John and Alan were totally out of position this week, and whoever wins the last race next week will win the series.